texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.
Welcome again to Street Talk. My name is Ahmad Shakaraki. And on Street Talk, we did the political, social, and economics here in Michigan, the U.S., and abroad. Now, joining me tonight,
Dennis Hungry Man Burnside.
Charles Thomas.
Paget Maynard.
okay, man, we got a lot to cover, but here's one of the things that I'm yet to come up with, what sense it makes, and also what's the rule on that. This man living in New Jersey.
You talking about Dr. Oz?
Yeah, but he's running. He's running over in Pennsylvania. So and then somebody was saying that he's supposed to have 10, 11 houses now, and I'll back up for a moment. And I hate to say it, because she's one of my favorite ladies, but Oprah Winfrey was the one gave him
the platform.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
she
interesting
did.
though. Oprah came out the day before yesterday, I believe it was
Yes.
Saturday, Friday, and endorsed Fetterman.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that was a stinger.
Yeah.
And Fetterman had the stroke back in May.
Yeah.
Prior to the stroke, he's absolutely crushing Oz for the reasons you listed. Had 10 homes, none of them in Pennsylvania.
Right.
One in Turkey, one in
Yeah.
All over the place.
Uzbekistan somewhere. He had cribs everywhere.
Yeah.
But he didn't have one in Pennsylvania. He's never lived in Pennsylvania. He was propped up to run again by this right-wing cabal that says, you'll get in there and you'll do what we tell you to do.
Yeah.
And you'll do it because we know that you have no integrity. You're a snake oil salesman,
Yeah.
and you'll lie for money.
Yeah.
So we know you're reliable.
You
so
know
we
my
want
boy.
you in
Yeah.
there. So he's not from there. And the thing is, until Fetterman had that stroke, Oz was getting blown out. They were making fun of him. When Fetterman had that stroke and some weakness was shown, and it gave the hateful right wing an opportunity to say, this guy. They had the nerve to put up a picture of him and Warnock on the Hannity show and say that these are two examples of men who don't have the mental capacity to be senator.
Yeah.
Warnock with the PhD, Warnock erudite, well-read, Warnock running against Herschel Walker, who can't spell Walker.
Yeah.
That's who they say is the brain damage one. And then, of course, you had Fetterman, who literally did have some brain damage.
Right.
But his cognitive abilities have not been impaired whatsoever.
Right.
It's his ability
Right.
to hear auditory signals and convert those into words in a timely manner, which is typical of stroke victims. And like he said, in January, he'll be getting better and better. Oz will still be a con man. So the idea that Oz is there at all is the idea of what we talked about on the last show, where the powers that be in the Republican Party say that we can get a useful fool in here who will do what we tell him to do because of his greed and his own personal ambitions. They'll do what we tell them to do.
Now,
and we've got enough dummies out here that'll vote for him because Hannity told them to.
Answer me one simple question. Oz does not live in Pennsylvania. He never did.
No.
Isn't it a law that you must live in the state that you want to be a senator from?
Well, it must not be.
Yeah.
This man is
money talks.
This man is from another state, he goes into this state, and all of a sudden he's running against somebody who's from the state. I mean,
and within the law, functioning within the law.
yeah,
Fetterman is a Pennsylvanian, and
Right.
Oz is not.
yeah,
We all know Oz doesn't live in Pennsylvania.
Right.
But Oz has been able to show some apartment or some farmhouse that he signed a lease on.
yeah,
And probably throws a couple grand a month to, you
Right.
know, and says that's my crib.
yeah,
And that's good enough for the Republicans, and it's enough to make a legal, protracted argument take well past the resolution of an election. So obviously the man's not a Pennsylvanian, but in the time it would take to adjudicate that, the election will be over. And they
Yeah.
know that.
yeah,
They know that.
Yeah.
And if he wins, and if he becomes a Pennsylvania senator, of course, he'll have to move to Pennsylvania then. And they say, well, he's here. Oh, that's old news. Like they always do. You know, yeah, I was lying, but so what? That's over with now.
Tricks.
Everything's fake, you know, with them. So
So, do you believe that if he wins this election, there's going to be some people who want to know?
oh yeah,
Exactly.
we'll have adjudication of it, and there may be even a conclusion drawn that Oz was not legally eligible to run in Pennsylvania for Senate because he wasn't a citizen. But now you're going to spend the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years in court adjudicating what do you do about it now, if it gets that far. So yeah, it's as if
Are they able
the
to
law and order party is never about law and order. They're about law and order when it comes to you. It's about using the law against you. You know, but the actual written law, well, we'll worry about that when the time comes when it
So-
applies to one of ours.
Tell me this now. If Oz wins, they can adjudicate. They can push it. Would they have him seated
Yep.
in the Senate,
Yeah.
or he'll have to wait?
No, he'll be seated.
Be seated.
That's the point. You'll be seated.
But then
he'll
would
start
they be
voting-
able to
He'll start
make him
voting
pay
in
back his
lockstep with the
salary?
Republican
Yeah.
Party,
Yeah.
and this will go through the court system, and someday down the line they'll say, hey, you ain't supposed to be in there.
Would he have to repay the monies that he was paid?
The money for him?
I mean, I know he got it.
Okay,
Well-
so if, say for example, it was you, and they said that you got a car 5 years ago based on a faulty application that you put in, and the car's 7 years old now, and you got to give it back, and you got to pay $85.73. You write the check for $85.73, they come get the car. I got out of it what I wanted. That's where Oz and the Republican Party
Yeah.
is with a lot of these different issues. How do you think they get a woman like Carrie Lake in Arizona, who was an unabashed liberal, who voted for Obama twice, who called Trump the next thing to Hitler, just like Vance, J.D. Vance in Ohio called him the next Hitler.
Yeah.
But then he went
And
kissing
then
butter
somebody
according
gets to
Trump.
him and they changed it to
Yeah.
him.
They flip.
They
yeah.
flip.
Yeah.
Now, if you got integrity, if you have a foundation that you stand on that says this is who
This
I
is
am
it.
and I won't be moved because I know this to be true, nobody could come along and make you say that Hitler is somebody I would vote for. Vance has. Vance told us that Hitler was he said Trump was America's Hitler. That's a
Yeah.
quote.
Yeah.
Couple years later, he's all up, riding on him.
Yeah.
Same thing with Kerry Lake in Arizona.
Yeah.
And you could go on down the line. So what is it about these people? Well,
We know.
we know what
Yeah.
it is. It's personal advancement.
Yeah.
It's political, financial.
Yeah.
It's look at me, I'm a
Yeah,
big
yeah,
shot.
Yeah, it's like I said, man.
And the bottom line, it's not just that they're big shots. I think it makes them smaller, that they have to stoop to such degrading levels in order to get a couple of dollars.
Well, but see, Patrick,
The bid in the club.
yeah. Well, see, the thing,
And
the
the
thing
end
is,
justifies the means.
the thing is that, like we said, Republicans are not like they were 35, 40 years ago. It's like now they just want that power, that's all they want now is power. Whether it's right or wrong or all of that,
They want power to the extent that they don't even believe in democracy anymore.
Right.
They will tell you if this election turns out that I lost, it wasn't a legitimate election.
Hey.
Well, they're
And if it turns
saying
out
it.
if I win it, then it was a legitimate. In other words, they don't even believe in democracy
No.
anymore. They don't believe in one person, one vote. They
No.
believe in
Money.
heads I win, tails you
Yeah.
lose.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Yeah.
Here is somebody running to become governor. Was asked the question, would you accept the outcome of the election if you lose? Cannot say yes. All kind of rigmarole she answering, but well, it depends on this and what the Democrats do.
Yeah.
Give me an answer. Yes.
Well, see,
I stand on my legs. I stand on my words that this is
That's who they are.
what the people say.
That's who they are. Of the 200, I think it's 230 different elections across the country going on right now
Yep.
that Republicans are running in. 180 of them are
Yep.
election deniers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they don't believe in democracy. They don't believe in one person,
No.
one vote.
But do you notice something?
So if they don't believe in that, what do they believe in? Well, the obvious answer to that is, if you judge them by their actions, is they're fascists.
Right. Yeah.
And if you
This
look
is
at
the
it,
effect of
these are
Donald
running for top offices. Secretary of State. This guy in Pennsylvania running for governor. What did he say? Well, there will never be that the Republican loses an election in here when I become governor. Was it Pennsylvania?
That was Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
That was Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. It just clicked back in my head.
Yeah.
In Wisconsin, when I become governor, when I am elected governor, they will never, Republicans will never ever lose a election again. So what are you telling me? That's not democracy.
Let's be honest about it, fellas. I mean, let's be honest about it.
Mm-hmm.
The Republican Party, as long as I've been alive, has been the party of white male dominance. As long as I've been alive.
Yeah.
Economic, political, social dominance, that's
Yeah.
where it is. And they're looking at the way the population's changing. They're looking at the demographics. They're looking at things that if you extrapolate out 5, 10 years from now,
Yep. Yep.
20 at the most, they will be in the minority.
Right.
And they don't want that.
Right.
So they would rather live in a brand new system, not unlike what we saw in South Africa,
No.
with minority rule and majority submission, than live under the auspices of a democratically elected government,
Right.
because they can't win that way.
Right.
Now, they could win if they ran on. See, here's another thing.
Intelligence.
Black folks never have had a problem voting for white people.
No. No.
Hell,
No.
until Barack came along, he was the only viable presidential candidate I've ever had the opportunity to vote for.
Yeah.
Jesse Jackson won a couple primary states,
Yep.
but by the time the general election came along, he was no longer an option.
No.
We've Shirley Chisholm, same thing.
Yep.
She kicked up some dust in the early 70s. That was even before I was old enough to vote.
Yep.
But we never had a viable candidate
No.
until Barack came out.
No.
But it was racist. I had people ask me, if he had been white, would you vote for him? Yeah. I voted for Kerry.
Yeah.
I voted for Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
I voted for what's my man who was the
Gore.
vice president of the Clinton?
Al Gore.
Al Gore.
Yeah.
I voted. Jimmy Carter was the first president I ever voted for.
Yeah.
And I still love that man to
Yeah.
this day. Black folks don't have a problem voting for white people.
No.
Black folks have a problem voting for racists.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that makes Republicans pretty much off the menu.
Right. Right.
Now, if I want to scratch my head when I ain't itching, and smile when ain't nothing funny, and dance when ain't no music on, yeah, I can vote for some Republicans.
Right.
But
And-
that ain't me.
Right. And that's what we see. That's what we see. What happened in the last election? We had a few blacks now voted Republicans. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know, we talked on this show many times about ignorant. We had a lot of the black male vote went from 8% for Barack Obama to 13% for Trump. And I saw the rationale for that vote with my own eyes. And y'all was both there at the time. There was a brother in the audience talking about, well, Trump's a billionaire, and Trump know how to get stuff done, and Trump gonna be tough on these people. Yeah, I'm gonna be Trump my man.
Yeah.
Trump ain't no more billionaire than this thermos here.
Look, the man
Trump got
isn't even a
IQ,
businessman.
Trump got he doesn't get the IQ of his phone. Yeah, but some impressionable, gullible people are persuaded by it. They saw Trump in some rap videos. They saw him in some movies. He's always got a tie on, claiming he's a billionaire. I like that.
Yeah.
You know, I can come up.
Yeah.
Man, think.
Yeah.
So that's the way you get. Yeah, that's where you go from 8 to 13%. But you notice our sisters didn't do that.
Right.
Did you notice
You
that
noticed
these
that,
people
right?
don't
Right.
know
The
where
sisters didn't do
Trump
that.
get the
Right.
money? They don't know where Trump got the money. You think it's Trump's money? Trump isn't that rich. It's other people's money he is using. We don't know if he's laundering for them, but it's other people's money he's using.
Yeah, that's why with the Russia.
Now, one thing, I hate that this conversation is going so good. I hate to bring it up. And you might have been watching, or you might have been watching the other night, 2 nights ago. This guy was a news person from I don't know what channel. I won't even mention the channel, but he was in this area where he was in this area of Detroit. Because I don't know nothing about Detroit. I went to school down there one year, but I don't know nothing about Detroit. But this guy interviewed 4 different black ladies. Okay. He ran over here and interviewed this one, over here, and over here. These black ladies said that the guy was saying, you ready to vote? And no. Lady said, no, I ain't gonna vote. The guy said, you not gonna vote? No, I ain't voting.
Why?
You know, it always end up the same thing anyway. So what I'm saying is that it made me think about the whole thing about Detroit. 78%, and that was year before last. I was reading this thing, and then I could be dead wrong. Said 78% of the people in Detroit were black. 78%. And we got a white mayor, been elected 2 times down there, and he was appointed 1 time. So 3 times, here it is, a white mayor in a city that's 78% black.
Where the blacks?
What do you think about that?
Well, it's been a few years since I spent a lot of time in Detroit, but I do know that the first time that mayor was elected, he had a lot of skeletons in his closet. He used to run the Detroit Medical Center, and there were informed people down there who knew about his background and what he was likely to do, the privatization, the development of business opportunities downtown and in certain boutique areas, but in the neighborhoods where the money is needed, in the schools where the money is needed, in the infrastructure which creates jobs. All those things have been largely ignored. And for the informed people, that's of no surprise. But you also have apathy that's been brought up by the Coleman Young administration, Dave Bean, Mayor Kirkpatrick. You've seen these people see these mayors come in, and whatever they did, whatever their intentions were, they didn't see their everyday circumstances appreciably change for the better. So you get somebody else coming in, and they look different, and they're making claims, and you say, well, you know, Kwame, he was too young, he was too immature. Dave Bean just didn't have the brass, and I like Coleman a lot, but he didn't get a lot done. So, you know, I think, you know, the ice is colder, right? When the white man sells it to you, I bet the mayor will be better. So the circumstances haven't changed. The school systems are still still in the toilet, and the all of it. It's pretty much what it is. But that speaks more to our indoctrination as melanated people in this country that began when we got here. The white man's ice is colder. They're smarter. They're more capable. You know, we tried our brothers. It didn't work. Let's try this guy over here.
Okay.
That's how I explain it. And I don't think it has anything to do with objective results. I think it has to do with social conditioning.
Yeah, fatigue.
Well, reading this thing, it said eight blocks from downtown looks just like it did 30 years ago.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Those are the type of problems that can't be ameliorated at the mayoral level. That takes state and federal dollars. That takes state and federal focus to make real change happen in the way that it needs to. It was the federal government and state government that destroyed those black neighborhoods in the first place. Okay?
Yeah.
It was federal and state legislation that built the highway system 475 right through the black neighborhoods. It was federal tax policy and federal laws that destroyed a vibrant black community in Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got friends who grew up in the west side of Detroit said it was nothing to walk outside and see a couple Temptations on this side of the street and Smokey Robinson over there, and they all got their latest cars, and your mother got a Buick and your dad's got a Cadillac because they work at the plants, and you got baseball practice, and you live in a middle-class lifestyle. That used to be part of the norm in Detroit. That's all gone. So that happens at a level that can't be affected by the mayor. But people who don't know the issues, the same thing happens with national elections. You get these so-called independents, right? Irrespective of what race they are, and they whipsaw the electorate. They'll get tired of Bush after 2 elections, and they vote for Obama twice. And then with really no rational explanation, they vote for Trump.
Yeah.
How the hell do you vote for Obama one election and vote for Trump next? Well, he didn't get enough done, so I'm going to go over. And then they go to Trump, of course. And then Trump does what he does, and then they whipsaw back to Biden. Now Biden's in office, and he's trying to pull the car out of the ditch, and they ain't going fast. I'm going back to Republicans.
Yeah, well,
so that is, again, you got this ignorance in our electorate, man, and it doesn't really matter to a certain point the income level or the race, of course. It comes down to how well informed you are, and we don't have a well informed people. People don't read newspapers. It's too much trouble. They don't want to know.
Emotions. That's why
They turn on the TV.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Turn on the game. Turn on reality TV.
Before coming to this country, I thought, my impression was that Americans were quite savvy politically. I got to America, and to my dismay, I discovered it's basically the opposite. And it's not going to be any better until people wake up, would listen and get some sense between the ears and make better choices.
Well,
I don't think it's a matter of waking up, because they'll tell you that. You know, you'll have some of these Trump hands. Wake up! Can't you see the Trilateral Illuminati Commission and blah blah blah?
Not Trump type of way.
I'm talking about picking up a newspaper, reading the events of the day in your neighborhood, in your state, in your country, and around the world. And after 3, 4, 5 months of doing that, you'll be able to synthesize some things in your mind and see which direction the wind's blowing. But people don't do that.
No.
Because it's too much trouble. But you turn on Fox and they just pour some BS in your head and you think that's reality. And you'll watch the game And they'll fly planes over, and they'll blare the national anthem, flags everywhere, and they'll make tears come down. Oh, we great, we the greatest country in the world.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so it's all part of the propaganda that's appealed to these empty-headed people, not because they're not capable of learning, because they don't learn. They don't want to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're entertaining you at the same time they're brainwashing.
Absolutely.
No, yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Chuck.
Yeah, you know.
That's
yeah.
the whole point. That's
If-
why.
if-
That's
if-
why sports is such a big emphasis in the last 30 years. You can't, you know, when I was a kid, football was Friday night high school, Saturday was college,
Yep.
Sunday was the pros,
Yeah.
and the rest of the week you got to work. Well, then they moved it to Monday night football,
Yeah.
and then the colleges started doing, you know, Tuesday and Wednesday, and now it's not a day of the week that you don't have a distraction, aka sports
yeah,
on.
right, yeah.
And the same
And
thing goes with
therefore
this
you
garbage
can
TV.
learn what
Well,
you
then
need
they
to
go
know.
to basketball, then they go, you know,
Yeah.
just,
And all these
Keep you entertained.
all these
While they do their dirt,
Right, get
and
the
you ain't watching.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and all these crazy TV shows, man. It's just
Garbage.
yeah.
It's garbage.
I mean, it's all just garbage, man. It's like, and
And don't forget, come Sunday, then you go and sit down and get the word from these pulpit pimps for the low price of 10% of your money.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah,
So yeah, we got a problem in this country.
yeah, and for me, man, it's like, wow. I remember when I got back from Vietnam. I think about less than a year after I got back. One thing I started doing, man, just read, you know.
Catching up.
Yeah, you know, and been doing it ever since, man. But like you were saying, we got people now. You know, if they don't hear it on TV, or it didn't happen. You know?
Man, I thank God every day for the parents I had, man, because my mother and father said from 7 to 9 o'clock, pick up a book,
Yeah,
pick up a newspaper, pick up a magazine, that TV's off.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Friday night, Saturday, you can watch the TV.
Yep.
Sunday through Thursday, you gonna read.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Cause so Walter Cronkite came on at 6:30. We usually watched it right after dinner as a family.
Yeah.
Watch Walter,
Yeah.
like most
Yep.
Americans, 7
Yep.
o'clock, click,
Yeah.
it was off.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do to entertain yourself? Well, I'm not gonna stare at the wall.
No.
To this day,
No.
I can't fly on a plane. I can't sit waiting for an appointment. I can't do anything where I don't have something to read.
Yeah.
Because that's my entertainment,
Yeah.
and also I feel like that's an opportunity to inform
It
myself.
is. It
Well, how
is.
many people had that? And how many people think that they're missing out by not reading? Your local paper
Yeah.
has AP
Yeah.
reports.
Yeah.
You know, there's reporting, people who are witnesses to events who are telling you in the form of journalism what's going on. You don't want to hear that.
No,
But
no.
you want to hear an inveterate liar
Yeah.
on your favorite cable show tell you what it is,
Oh, yeah.
and you accept
Yeah,
that.
700 Club.
Yeah, and another thing is that some of these things that that's coming on TV, it's so crazy and everything, and I noticed, you know, for me clicking around, I noticed that for black shows, either it's violence, guy, you know, it's killing each other and going on.
Or buffoonery.
Yeah,
I know. It's
yeah,
pitiful.
you know.
It's absolutely pitiful.
Yeah,
man.
you know.
It's absolutely
I mean, it's
pitiful.
nothing. It's one show that what you call his daughter, Dana Ross's daughter, do. What's the name of this show?
That was Blackish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only show that
And that's off the air now.
it is.
Yeah. It's rare, man.
Yeah, I
It's
get-
rare.
yeah.
Yeah, you know, look at our culture, man. Who do we admire? Athletes,
Yeah,
entertainers,
Yeah.
and preachers.
yeah,
Who got the bang? Who got the extra butter biscuit back when we was enslaved? The good athlete,
Yep.
the one who could sing a song and tap dance a massa,
Yep.
and the one who preached every Sunday
Yeah.
to keep those enslaved Africans docile.
yeah,
Ain't nothing changed.
yeah. All right, boy, the show going good. But anyway, that's the end of that, and we catch you down the next block for more street talk.
Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.